comic books, movies, TV, and more. Nerds are everywhere. It's time to assemble! It's Nerds United.
Hello and welcome to a brand new Nerds United live on YouTube, on Facebook, on a Friday night and an hour earlier than usual because reasons. Thought, well, let's try going to 8 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock and see how that goes. My name, I'm your host, out of order here, Greg Mahachko, Bleep Blarp over here, the co-host of the year, Mike Luther. My friend, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So I'm guessing you just wanted to do an hour early, which again, I'm fine with. What's up, Highlander Gun? Or there was a reason that you're going to want to tell me off air.
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Bingo bango.
Bingo bango. But Highlander Gun made it. Great to see Highlander Gun. We'll see how many of the Chatterfields make it over with the time change. It's going to throw chaos into everything, but we appreciate all of you who are going to tune in tonight or are tuning in tonight or going to watch it later or listen to the podcast, whichever. Thank you.
Agreed. I also
Mike,
thank you. Yes.
Mike, so last night we did the 5 Heart podcast and I brought a prop. You think I'm going to give you a high five. I brought a prop for the show. Now I don't think I can do it. It's full effect. And allegedly I overused it last night, but
I believe that.
Thank you. It sounds like one of the regulars that come in like, I'm late. What did I miss? And I would kill the lights and I would do this. Yeah. The glow lights, man.
And the coolness never stops with you, does it?
So I had to tell the story. Highlander Guns here in this for the second night in a row. But Garrett and I, we watch BattleBots on Max, and one of the teams, they're like the driver and builder. They have glasses like that they wear out to the box or the arena. Yeah. But theirs are gold. And I was just looking. I'm like, those are kind of fun, And I was scrolling like, oh, they have red. So that was the catalyst for a whole wild night last night.
Okay. So you're okay?
And a good time was had by me.
Hey, you know what? That counts. That counts for something.
Mike, we're going to play a game we haven't played in a while.
Okay.
What you drinking?
Oh, I have a Gatorade bottle filled with water because I already drank the Gatorade and then I just put water in it.
Remember the good old days when we used to drink beers?
Yeah.
And talk about them. And when we go and record a show in the brewery here in town that's not there anymore?
We did when we first got together for the podcast, we would usually have 1 or 2 beers while recording. Now we wouldn't have more. Like I think at one point in time I might have had 3.
We also used to do the show like in person, and we would. It was audio only, so we were just laying down the track.
Yeah, I was gonna say we weren't laying down together while we did the podcast. That'd be a different podcast altogether.
That would be after.
That's the Patreon.
I was gonna say that'd be after when be like, hey man, let's watch a movie, and then you leave like 20 minutes left because I fell asleep.
That's true. Yes.
Highlander Gun says I do that too, regarding reusing your Gatorade bottles. Yeah, and Highlander Gun, his name's Mike. You don't have to call him the random name. He's gonna come up with it.
Up to you. You call me whatever you want.
It's like my mom always said, I don't care what you call me, just call me for dinner. That's a true story. My mom said that.
I believe it. I mean, here's the thing. I believe it, and I believe you continue to say it.
The other one
I believe, Greg. I believe that might be your go-to line when you're introducing yourself to somebody. I truly believe you probably go, "Hey, my name's Greg, but you call me Greg, but don't call me late for dinner." And then you chuckle a little bit.
Just like that. The other one that I heard when I was in radio down in Cape Girardeau, we were a syndicate station for a talk show, morning talk show from the Southeast called John Boy and Billy, if that's any indication. And Billy used to say, doesn't matter what they call you, it's what you answer to.
Okay. Yeah,
and
true.
I think that's a good one for, I think young people especially.
Yeah.
You know, because young people are beat down, they're bullied. But if they, if they're called every name in the book and they don't answer to them, like, no, you're going to put some respect on my name and call me whatever my name is. So.
Yeah, that's right. I get it. By the way, what are you drinking? Because you asked me what I was drinking.
We were going to get there. Handmade, enjoy cold, Kentucky vanilla barrel cream ale.
Oh, where'd you get that?
Schnucks.
Schnucks. Man, I got to try some of that. That's not, well, actually, taste it. So tell me how it is.
Oh, no, it's delicious. Trust me.
Okay, that's what I figured.
I first had this last year down in Bardstown, Kentucky. Because I don't drink bourbon, but I'll drink the barrel cream ale.
Yeah,
it's smooth. It's not too sweet. I mean, it's a good ale, and it's got 5.5% ABV.
Oh, there you go.
That's good. Fred's late, but we forgive Fred because we're technically early, right?
Yeah.
Mike, it's that time of the show where we talk about comics and if you bought anything or read anything this week. And I don't know if I didn't do any.
So I've not bought any comics. I still have the ones you're letting me borrow. What's funny is I think I mentioned the last time I finished reading Black Hammer Secret Origins. And then I was thinking to myself, I was like, ooh, I kind of want to continue on with this. So I might have to see what the library has or maybe buy the next one. And then I look in my box and Black Hammer Secret Event is in there. I was like, oh, I forgot that I grabbed that one from you. So I'm working on that one now. Yes, thank you, gracias. And also I'm working on Deadpool Secret Wars. It's kind of funny. Besides that, I think
that's Secret Wars, like the OG with like Deadpool was not a character.
Yes,
he had not been created yet for when Secret Wars was out, which I think was the 80s.
Yeah.
And so it's like he was in the shadows or lurking behind the scenes the whole time, which is kind of great.
Yeah.
Now I found, and this would be good. I've read this, but it's been a little minute. Secret Empire.
Oh, okay.
This would, if I memory serves, this is when Captain America. It's revealed that he's been a Hydra agent all along.
Yes.
So. And let's see. I did read some of like the single issues that I had last week, like when I was grilling on Sunday, drinking beer and reading comics. So,
what'd you grill, by the way?
Pork chops.
Pork chops, okay. By the way, I know last time we talked about grilling, and then my sister or Hayden commented that they were surprised that I grilled. They didn't know I grilled. I don't grill a lot or often, but I know how to grill brats and hamburgers.
I saw, and in fact, let's put a bow on that because
yes.
You had said, oh, we need to, we picked our teams, our menus for the cookouts, and he said we got to put these up there and see which, who's got the better menu. And I remember, if I remember correctly, I was menu A with the brisket, the kebabs, the zucchini, burgers, pulled pork steaks, baked potato, and hot dogs. And you were menu B, ribeyes, baby back ribs, chicken, pizza, corn, s'mores, brats, and watermelon. And in an overwhelming, I would say majority, but
it was a landslide victory.
Landslide, thank you.
Yeah.
Menu A1.
Yeah.
With the vote of 2-0.
Well, no, if you don't know, you got more because I shared it on my page and you had 2A on my page.
Oh, okay. 4-0.
I think Bald and I think it was Bald and my buddy Cameron. I forget, or somebody. Both voted A. Look, I'm saying this not as a sore loser. Like your menu was great. For me, I mean, I still like when I look at B, it's like, man, you got the s'mores on there. Okay, so you got a dessert, you got watermelon, not grilled. Well, grilled watermelon is kind of weird, but I don't know. But I mean, honestly, I I think for yours, and again, you'll want fair and square. For me, if I was picking, I would pick B because there's certain things that were on your like kebabs I don't care about, or whatever. Zucchini, I'm definitely not, By the way, speaking, you know what? I tried another vegetable today.
Like, I'm 43 years old and I tried a vegetable.
42, and I still hate vegetables.
Fair. Which one did you try today?
Artichoke hearts.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. And technically, I also it's technically a fruit, but it's a vegetable. I tried little those mini tomatoes.
Mm-hmm. Those are fine.
Maybe a different way of cooking them or something like that.
Oh, okay. Full disclosure, I never cook them. I just eat them raw with a little ranch dip. Or my mom makes a really nice like veggie dip. Just do a little dip. And I don't know this for a fact because I've never. I mean, this comparison only exists in my brain.
Right.
But I have a feeling like when you squish, one of those little cherry or grape tomatoes in your mouth, it's got to be like eating an eyeball.
Is that good or bad? I can't tell what you're trying to say there. I don't because I was because they're little... So I wasn't able to like do that because they were cut in half. Okay, so that's not a good thing. Okay.
Well, yeah, I wonder if grapes are more solid throughout. They don't have like the little juicier pockets, so they don't squish as much. So,
yeah.
Fred says artichoke hearts are great.
Hey, you know what? Asparagus with cheese sauce. Anything with cheese sauce it's gonna bump it up. Like broccoli itself is nasty. Broccoli with cheese sauce, okay, tolerable.
I think that's exactly what Highlander Gun's saying. A boot with cheese sauce.
Yes.
Make the boot edible. Fred says, roast the cherry tomatoes in the oven with some garlic and herbs, then swirl into cheese and make it into a dip.
Okay. Do you cut up the cherry tomatoes before you roast them?
We'll have to wait.
Yes.
I was kind of surprised. I mean, you had the ribeyes. I honestly thought I'd go to your cookout probably.
And here's the thing: if I'm invited to either cookout, I'm happy.
Right. You're like, I don't have to cook.
Right. I am a big fan of maybe just because it's easy and convenient, but brats. I'm a huge fan of grilling brats.
We have. I like a great basic like brat or beer brat, but I also like Sugar Creek in Clinton County there, and they have them at Trenton Processing. They have like the gourmet brats, like the Asiago cheddar, or
yes.
We had one here a little while back. There was a chili cheese brat, was really nice. So
I think I've had that.
So I do. I like those more unique flavors.
Yes.
Excellent. So that's what we've read, and we'll get into some of the things that we viewed. I think we need to start just to get it out of the way.
Okay.
And this is something that I have seen and you have not. I feel like we're on opposite way. So I have seen all of the Acolyte so far, all 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And most of the first episode of The Boys.
Yeah.
You have seen most of the first episode of the Acolyte, but all 3 of The Boys.
Yes.
So Acolyte episode 3 dropped on, I believe, Wednesday. And there you see the actor, the thespian who plays the 2 kind of, they're twins, spoiler. But it's one individual who plays, at least as adults. When they're children, I don't know, they don't exactly look identical. Like that might have found some twins who are, maybe just a skosh off being identical. But you find out essentially that they are, I don't know if I want to say bred or through, similarly to, I guess, how Anakin Skywalker would be born, which is the dark side of the Force. These 2 were created to, what you learn is it's a coven, but it's all female, so same-sex couple. And they have conflicting, I apologize if this is a spoiler for you, Mike. I don't know if you care.
You're fine. Good.
But the girls, the characters, have conflicting paths that they want to take. One wants to stay in the coven. I mean, they they refer to them as a coven. They refer to them as witches. Similar to, I think, was it Dothamir, the witches there who utilized the Force. She wants to stay the other one. They're both Force sensitive. She wants to be a Jedi. And in fact, they're told when the Jedi arrive on the planet, like, hey, don't, like, they're going to test you. Just fail the test. It's okay. And so Jedi Master Soul, he's administering the test to the second twin, who the first one failed, dropped out, did her job. And he's basically like giving, it's the same things that young Anakin had to do in Phantom Menace. Like, they have a little screen. It's beginning of Ghostbusters. It's that clairvoyance. Says, all right, can you tell me what the picture is that's on the monitor here that you can't see? And she's missing them on purpose. And he's like, yep, nope, you're. But he's going around. He's like, no, you're right. And on the second or third time, it's whatever. It's a tower or mountain. Or, yeah, I think it's a tower or something. She says it's a mountain. He's like, yep. She's like, no, wait, it's a. She outed herself as far as like she knew the answer. She knew she was lying. So I mean, like, that's fun. I mean, I suppose that she was doing her best and he tricked her. But it has a violent end. I think that my biggest issue with this series, I mean, this series is being lambasted from people on both sides of the social political aisle. I mean, it's not doing well, but it's already created. It's not like they can cancel it, but the Coven, the characters they're trying to portray the Jedi as bad. And I feel like we've had 1977, I got to do math, roughly 47 years of Star Wars. And I think if you are going to have either in the universe, in the Star Wars world, or in our world, if you're going to have the mindset that the Jedi are bad, you probably need to look internally, because I think that there's something off with your radar.
No. Hold on. I think it's amazing. Again, like you said, I've only seen one episode of it, basically. But the way you're describing it, if they are trying to make the Jedi look bad, and we're not saying the Jedi are bad. Obviously, we know they're not. But I love that there's a different mindset over it.
No,
I love that there's a different way of thinking about it. And I want to see that viewpoint. And
for like the characters too, it's always said the most compelling villains are the ones who view themselves as the heroes. Like, that's why, dare I say, Lex Luthor is a better villain than Joker. Joker's just evil. Lex Luthor viewed himself as the man of tomorrow, and then Superman showed up. So to an extent, like, I don't mind that viewpoint in the series. Mm-hmm. But I think what gets me, and especially because, like, they make a comment about, like, oh, those old monks, things like that. I'm like, we don't need to be so on the nose. But like the people who are sympathetic to this viewpoint in the real world, I think they need to get a life.
Yeah, I don't care about the real world. We're watching Star Wars. We're watching space battles and a giant whatever ape thing that growls and people understand of, and there's lightsabers and all kinds of stuff. So that it's completely different. I do, but like I said, I like. I'm now interested in watching it to see what their viewpoint is, And also, and again, it's not over yet. So obviously that it might switch later on in, or something comes out.
Right. Fred says the Force, or as they refer to it in this show, the thread. Again, 47 years of Star Wars. I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel on some of this. But he says the Force somehow impregnated the ladies and then spat out the antagonist and protagonist. Then he says, I hate this. They've been doing it in everything. Deconstruct it. And now for modern audiences, now everything that was good is now bad. We have seen a little bit of a flip.
By the way, what does Fred like? Because Fred talks, no offense, Fred, but you talk a lot about what you hate. Tell me, Fred, tell me something you like.
Besides the Huskers.
That's a given. Okay, everybody here likes the Huskers.
That's right, everybody. That reminds me. I can ask you this. We do my buddy Hoss and I do another show. We don't do it live. We record it. And it's called, in this case, Coronation Overreaction Revisits. And we go back and we're looking at every game from last year.
Okay.
We're getting set to talk about the Illinois game.
Oh, okay.
Week. Do you want to do a guest shot on that?
When is it?
Whenever.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm available, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we don't typically start recording until 9 or 9:30, but it's only like a half-hour show. So
yeah, I'm down.
Sweet. And the beer is good. All right.
By the way, Fred's still thinking about what he likes. He hasn't figured it out yet.
Highlander Gun says pick Firefly.
That's good. That would work, honestly.
Fred likes Star Trek pre the J.J. Abrams movies, like Star Wars pre the sequel series.
Fred,
like Doctor Who till they ruined it.
Here's the thing, Fred. I'm trying to help you out. And I love you.
I think Fred's just a gentleman of a certain age.
even when you're talking about stuff you like, you added. You're like, I like ketchup, but not when it's from Walmart. It's like, just say you like ketchup, man. Come on. All right, but you did look here. You did name stuff you like, so okay, that's good. And yeah, here's the thing. I've never seen Doctor Who, so if you want to recommend a season for me to watch, that would be fine. I don't know where I'd watch it at, but
I think it's on Disney Plus. I think some of it's on Disney Plus now.
I've
seen some of the newer. I would say probably season. Fred might have to help me out. If it's, I would start with like the David Tennant Doctor.
That's probably a good one.
I also don't hate the Christopher Eccleston. But all right, well, let us move forward. It was announced this week. I had no idea that this was even, in the near future. But we're getting Watchmen again.
Yes.
And in animated form.
I vaguely remember something being talked about like a year or two ago or whatever. I don't know. I know you put that trailer out there and you said it was very confusing. I did not watch it. Full disclosure.
Well, I won't say it's confusing. It's just I don't know this for this going more or less on what I've heard or read, but like Coco Melon for young kids.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of rapid cuts. I mean, it's kids songs, but that's what Watchmen was, but it was Watchmen rapid cuts. I've seen, read studies that say that rapid cut style of like Coco Melon versus like what we grew up with, which was Mr. Rogers, and it was like one camera. They just kept it going. Yeah, that has helped, like, been a greater cause of like ADHD in children. Because of the rapid cuts. So, all right, let's take a couple quick looks at because Fred says The Boys is good. I liked Altered Carbon. I like Invincible. Haven't seen Firefly yet.
Yes, agreed. I haven't seen Altered Carbon. I've heard good things about it. I think.
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't remember much.
Yeah, same.
Highlander Gun says Firefly is a good series, just 1 year, however, with a movie at the end. I remember like the joke that they made in The Big Bang Theory. When they were in a flashback, they said, "Oh no, whatever night Firefly was on, Tuesday or Thursday." Like, nope, that's Firefly night, and it'll always be that way because it's such a wonderful show; it'll never go away. And of course, it only lasted one season. So, let's see. Fred suggests starting with Eccleston and go all the way to Capaldi's second to last season, and then quit watching it. Original is great, but not a lot of people like that old sci-fi or poor special effects. So, I mean, the original goes back to like the 1960s.
Yeah. So, Eccleston to Capaldi.
Minnie's here tonight, says, I liked He-Man, and that's it in the sci-fi or animation. So
that's good. He-Man is good.
And Highlander Gun is still out there trumpeting for Firefly. Firefly says, try Firefly. Minnie had a 52% female fan base. But I'll tell you what I like about Firefly. I mean, aside from, it was a fun show, but Malcolm, gosh dang it. Who's my fifth favorite actor in Hollywood right now?
God, what is his name? He played in Moon Knight. No, Brie Larson.
Nathan Fillion.
Oh,
So anyway, all right. So Watchmen.
Oscar Isaac. That's what it was.
That's it. I do want to go back and watch Moon Knight though. Like that, I feel like that's deserving of a rewatch. So anyway, we're gonna get an animated version of Watchmen, and I guess Watchmen fans will just have to hope and pray that it has the more comic book accurate ending instead of what we got at the end of the movie.
Yeah, or they could just also read the comic.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Visually, taking into the fact that it's animated and not 2D images, but looks again very much on brand.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't hate the Zack Snyder, movie of The Watchmen.
No,
Again, with the exception of that third act or the latter half of the third act, I thought it was, almost shot for shot, frame by frame, a retelling of the story. But it went on for a long time. Maybe that's why they're dividing this into two parts. The first part's going to be out in the fall, and then part 2 is going to be available in 2025. And I think they're kind of taking that model from Crisis on Infinite Earths, which just within the last month or two released part 2 of that. And again, these timeless pieces of comic literature, the fact that they're making them, and I think doing it animated, I think they're able to. I'd like to say they're able to keep a little bit more true, but not from what I've seen with Crisis on Infinite Earths. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think we might have differing opinions on this, which is fine. But I feel a lot of times you want, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you want a shot by shot or as close as possible movie, TV show, whatever, to the comic books, where I want generally tell the same story. That's about it. Like if I want something that's like the comic books, I'll read the comic books.
I think if you're going to like Flashpoint, if you're going to give it the the heading or I'm trying to think of something that really jumps off. Okay, Civil War.
Yeah,
I knew Civil War was not going to meet my expectations as soon as it was announced, because Civil War, the comic, encapsulates the entirety of the Marvel universe.
Right. They had decades of backstory.
Right. And all the characters you already knew. You didn't have to introduce. I mean, they introduced Spider-Man, but hell, everybody knows Spider-Man. And I was fine with it. Like it wasn't the Civil War that I read, but it was the Civil War that I enjoyed, and it made sense for the MCU.
Yeah.
Like any of the Batman movies, any of those, again, if they're not putting like a comic book title on there, creative liberty. Like, I don't care. But right. I think if you're going to do a Crisis on Infinite Earths, then you better keep it close to Crisis on Infinite Earths. You know what I mean? Like, because there's an expectation.
That's fair. Yeah. I said I'm a little bit more lenient, but I understand what you're saying. You know. And honestly, sometimes if the movie isn't good or not, I'll give it. So Batman Hush, the animated movie made me appreciate the comic book more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I still like the animated movie.
And I think
ooh.
Another one that kind of evoked that same feeling for me was Under the Red Hood, the animated movie, and then again, it's not shot for shot like the book, but it's very good. Yeah. And there's
I was gonna say, and like kind of the reason like I'm fine with a little bit of leniency is I want to be surprised. Like if I've already read, whatever Flashpoint or something like that, and it's and then the movie's exactly like the comic book is, like, what does that do for me? Like, okay, I just saw this same thing twice. Cool.
But again, I think it kind of comes back to the what we expect, right? Because I think one of the most faithful book to movie adaptations that I know of is The Green Mile.
Okay.
The Green Mile, which was a the name just went right through my brain.
John Quincy Adams.
No. Anyway, the Stephen King. Oh,
Stephen
I got
King.
there. It took a minute. And I think the book is tremendous. I think the movie's tremendous, and the movie is, I think, very faithful to the book. Like I watched the book. I checked that book out twice when we were in high school from the school library, and then the movie was coming out like in that time.
Yeah.
So it was all fresh, and I remember watching the movie like, yeah, that makes sense. And they're the little bit of special effects that they have, and when I'm reading the book, and then I'm starting to watch the movie, like how are they gonna do that? I'm like, oh, special effects that they've had in movies for decades. So
yeah, that might be slightly different because I think it's different going from a book to a movie as compared to a comic book, which has pictures in it, to a movie.
When done right, or I shouldn't say when done right, it's possible to like just use the comic book as a source material because you have the storyboard right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see, Minnie being here, she said, did Greg pull out his super cool glasses yet?
He pulled out glasses. I wasn't going to call him super cool, but he pulled out glasses.
And Fred says, Minnie, I bet Greg's wife took them away. She did not.
She probably doesn't know or care about them.
I'm going to try if I can't wear them tonight.
As you should.
Yeah, anyway. All right, so let's move on. We also got a little teaser trailer for season 2 of a show that was on Netflix, or is on Netflix, and debuted, I think, in 2021, that being Arcane, Mike, from League of Legends, I believe.
I believe so.
So, and it kind of the show that kind of gets forgotten about a little bit, because it only had maybe 8-9 episodes, something like that. But I really like the visual style. It was good storytelling. Here we see just one little still from the upcoming season, which is, by the way, it's not just going to be a second season. It's going to be his last season. Like they're getting out while they can. And this one was really evocative to me. It made me think of a movie that is 15 years old that nobody watching this or listening has probably ever heard of. And I want to say that it was a Tim Burton animated feature. But do you remember the movie 9?
No, that looks familiar, but I know I've never seen it. And that's definitely Tim Burton-esque.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, as you can tell, they're kind of definitely post-apocalyptic, but it's like a steampunk or I think I saw something online when I was looking for that image, or an image said it was more like a Stitch punk. But they're little robots, and they all have number on their burlap canvas bodies, and so I like this animation style. I wasn't too sure of it at the beginning when I started watching Arcane 3 years ago, but the more I see of it again, it kind of it's similar. I mean, it's very different, but I'm here for a little more Arcane. Why not, right?
I watched, I think, all or most of the first season, and I remember enjoying it.
Speaking of watching all or most of the first season, I went to start up season 2 of Sweet Tooth.
Okay.
And realized I hadn't quite finished season 1.
Okay.
Like
you don't have to. I mean, you're far enough behind. You don't really have to finish it. That's up to you, obviously. I think I am on the very last episode. Is going to be the final season.
I believe I finished the first season today.
Okay.
And when I rewound a little bit because I was like, I don't know and immediately I was kind of caught back up with everything. So kudos to the creators for making it digestible for dummies like me. So Sweet Tooth, all 3 seasons are available right now on Netflix. What's not going to be on Netflix for much longer?
What is that?
Well, I should say, who's not going to be making more content for Netflix or Warner Discovery, and that would be Mr. Dwayne Rock Johnson.
Okay. Well,
and by that, as you can see here, he's standing with his ex-wife and business partner Danny, and I believe that is someone from Disney. But he and his production company $7. They signed a first look deal through Disney. Danny Garcia is his business partner there for theatrical and streaming films. Just trying to look here if I can see a dollar figure. Now, I'm not totally surprised by this because, like Moana, which he's heavily involved in, also Jungle Cruise. So, let's see.
Yeah, he does do Disney type movies sometimes. So yeah,
he is going to be back as Maui in Moana 2, which is going to hit theaters in November. Nothing here that I could see as far as a dollar figure from Variety.com, which, whatever. I guess it's none of my business. But I do think, we talk about like superhero fatigue, and I don't know if that's a real thing, but I do feel like, permeating the public is some Dwayne Johnson fatigue. Do you think that he's getting a little oversaturated?
I think so. I think people were upset. Well, there was a lot of rumors, and maybe they were true about like him trying to take over DC. Him. I've heard that he was the one who didn't want Shazam to be in the end credits of Black Adam because his whole thing was Black Adam should fight Superman. Like he wanted to fight the big bad guy or whatever. Whereas in the comic books, it's Black Adam and Shazam are more likely to fight each other. So it would have made more sense that he was, like I said, was basically just trying to take over DC and going above people's heads that he shouldn't have been going over.
Yeah, not gonna make a lot of friends. And what is it? What is that book / movie? It's how to lose friends and alienate people or something.
Yeah.
Definitely feel like that was what he was working on in that. So he's done with Warner DC, and he will move on to Disney and gum up those works, I would suppose.
I hope he makes great movies, movies and TV shows.
Speaking of great movies and TV shows, Fred says, I also like Game of Thrones and enjoy Cobra Kai, an example of how to properly reinvent an old IP.
Cobra Kai. Okay, yes. Cobra Kai, I really enjoyed. Somebody's doing something outside my house, or something I don't know.
It's not Nolan, is it?
No, somebody who doesn't know how to drive. But no, with Cobra Kai, I do like it. I really like it. They have the last, was it 5th season coming up?
In 3 parts, 15 episodes. It's like July, October, November, and then sometime in 2025.
Yeah.
Which is a little crazy.
It does. I don't think they should have gone 5 seasons. Now, I say that with somebody who's going to watch the 5th season and has rewatched other seasons. I feel like 5 seasons was just, they stretched it as far as they could. They had a very good premise at first, which was like, hey, maybe this guy wasn't the bad guy if you really think about it. Like he's got his
Barney Stinson said.
Yeah.
Remember that in How I Met Your Mother?
Yes, of course. Yeah. And then they had it where they were training the other person's kid and stuff like that, and it was going back and forth. And then it was like they were enemies, and the bad guy was the good guy, the good guy was the bad guy, and now they're friends, but now they're enemies again. And then we have to separate the teams again. A
lot of repetition.
Yeah,
I think, but I guess by dragging it on, we're getting further and further into, like the. Like all the other characters, the secondary characters from the movies from the 80s.
Here's and look, I'm completely wrong about this. By the way, Fred, you're correct. They could have called it a day a season or 2 ago. Absolutely. I think some of those characters, I don't even know if people knew who they were sometimes. Regardless, am I going to look forward to the 5th season? Yes. Am I going to be pissed because it's 3 parts and I have to wait a year between each part or whatever? Yes.
I mean, might as well just make it, like season 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
So, But I mean, I see it. Realistically, they probably have another. I mean, if it's 3 parts, 5 episodes in each, there got to be at least 40 minutes per episode.
Yeah.
I mean, so they probably got another almost 10 hours of content.
By the way, I remember watching it when it was on like YouTube Premium or something like that.
Yeah, when you had to pay for it on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So, and to what you said a moment ago, Mike, the only Karate Kid movie I ever watched was the first one.
Yes.
So the only way that I know about some of these, Cobra Kai, old senseis and whatnot is the exposition and the flashbacks that they're showing in the series. So
I watched the first Karate Kid, and then I watched Lady Karate Kid or whatever it was called.
I do remember that one with Hilary Swank.
But here's the thing: I watched that. I'm like 90% sure I saw that at the drive-in in Breeze.
I'm trying to remember how long ago Breeze had a drive-in.
It was when I was little-ish. Maybe not. Maybe it was something else. When did that movie? Because that doesn't make sense. When did that movie come out? Are you looking it up?
I'm on it.
Greg's going to take
next
20 minutes to find it.
1994.
So I was 13. That's reasonable.
A young Hilary Swank. By the way, 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not right.
7%.
That's not right.
I think just the fact you have Pat Morita there gives you like 30%. But
yeah.
So, all right. Before we get on to kind of our final 2 topics, I came across this link from ICV2.com, and I was actually, part of me was surprised, and also part of me that lives in this world was not surprised. But basically what it boils down to is that adults age 18 and up became the largest market segment for toys. And we don't talk a whole lot of like business on this, but for the first time in the first quarter of this year, surpassing the preschool segment, there were more toys purchased for adults, watch it, Fred, than there were for preschoolers in the first quarter of this year.
What do they consider toys? Are video games considered toys?
So let's see. They were, it's just a lot. Like a lot of it is, let's see.
Like smartwatches. Are those considered toys?
No.
Like that,
So, for example, this is it has to do with like there's a lot that's like Pokemon cards, but it says over the past year, 43% of adults purchased the toy for themselves, citing socialization, enjoyment, and collecting as the top motivations. But adult purchases amounted to $1.5 billion in quarter one. This list from, again, ICV2.com, which is available on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Nerds United Show, says 4 TCG products were among the top 10 new items sold in track stores for the spring season. They were Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Paladin Fates Collection, Tinted number 4. Yeah, it's just Pokemon cards, essentially. And Disney Lorcana Into the Inklands booster pack.
Okay.
I think that's more, I don't know if it's, not like video games.
Okay. The idea of a toy is different than what we would think of as toys. Because I could see I could see people because Lorcana or whatever it is, it's a new big thing. A lot of people are doing that. Pokemon has always been around. That's kind of like, and maybe they did in this if they counted comic books as toys.
Doesn't say. It does say that toy sales overall were down 1% in the spring, according to Circana, with toys and games not among the super categories experiencing growth. Toy sales for spring remain up 38% versus sales back in 2019. So that feels like going back 5 years is a little odd, but what do I know?
Yeah.
That's why we don't talk business on this show, by God.
All right, we're number 1. Yay, go us.
Yeah. All right, before we get on to our main event yesterday, I believe it was, the first 3 episodes of The Boys, season 4, dropped on Prime Video.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see there's a still there. We have Homelander and his son, whose son doesn't have a name, I don't think.
Ryan.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
glad you're on the ball. It's like, I'm sure he has a name. It's
Yeah.
not important.
She's never been named before. Nope, he was named in season 1, actually.
That's true. That's true. So I was surprised by a part of this first, because again, as we mentioned at the outset, I've only seen almost the first episode, and you've seen all 3. Let's see. We'll address these comments in a moment. But I was surprised to see Black Noir back because it did not end so well in season 3 for old Black Noir.
No, but have you heard him talk?
No. Not yet.
Oh, that's not really a big spoiler. It's kind of funny because I was going to say with like the 3 episodes, and this is not a spoiler, but like you get to Black Noir talks, and it's odd. and then also you see Homelander shirtless, and he's a lot hairier than you would think.
I did see that.
Yeah, okay.
I was not anticipating that. But yeah, so I'm enjoying it. It's more of the same. We know that you have the 4th season and the 5th season, and then the boys will end, but Gen V and other spin-off shows in that world will continue. So, and if you need to know more about Homelander, for those who are unfamiliar, there he is. He's a very angry individual. And we just, hope that he gets the help he needs. This is June. It's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Maybe he needs to go sit down and talk to somebody.
You know what? I think you're right. And we'll talk to him and not laser their face off.
Yeah. They had that dream sequence for him where he's like reliving in his mind all these murders that he's committed. Fred says, I like when Homelander shoved his kid off the roof, how I imagine John working with Greg when they first met. I had wings and I knew how to fly, big guy. So what are your thoughts so far? I mean, you've seen more of season 3, and I'm assuming it's going to be 8 to 10 episodes. I'm not sure.
I assume so. This very much feels like a season 4 where I don't want to say it's slow to start because there's plenty of action and there's plenty of holy shit moments.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels slower than the first or second seasons. And I can't put into words why. It's like we're gonna get there eventually. We're gonna do it. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do it eventually. And so I'm looking forward to episode 4 when it comes out in a week, I guess.
Let's see. Highlander Gun says, I've been living in Fangorn Forest for too long. I don't know any of these flicks. Just be prepared, Highlander, if you go to watch Big Boys on Prime Video.
Have your kids with you. I don't know if you have kids or not, but if you do, bring them around with you, and especially if they're little. The Boys is really for little kids. They're gonna want to. It's like before bed, have them sit down. And have them watch The Boys. It's educational, honestly. I hate to even say this entertainment because it's really more educational. He's 38. Does he have kids? Because bring his kids around. It's really for ages like 10 and under is what it's for. So
shame. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I'm not.
I know. All right. Before we get to our main event, as we're kind of mowing through things here, which is good. I like the higher pacing. We get out of here in less than 2 hours. Not that 2-hour shows are bad, but Minnie says, I think life has changed so much. What toys have you bought recently for your kids? Well, your kid's in college, so I don't know if that counts.
Bag of Nails. It was one of the good toys this year. Bag of Nails. Open electric socket was a good one.
We bought
Pail of Water.
We bought Garrett a lizard last week. I don't know.
Did you really?
You did not tell you that last week?
No.
Yeah, he's got the lizard.
Oh wow.
He's got the bearded dragon.
What's the lizard's name and who feeds it? You?
Benjamin.
Okay. I don't know about that name, but okay.
Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, okay, that's better. Now I like it.
But he just goes by Benjamin. The funny thing is, it's not old enough yet to be able to tell if it's a boy lizard or a girl lizard.
Don't matter.
So if it's a girl lizard, then her name's just gonna be Benny.
That's good. Yeah.
So and Ashley and Garrett feed it crickets.
Okay.
And I help tear up the greens for it from time to time.
Okay.
I was told Not that there's conditional about anything, but I was told that I didn't have to do a whole lot with it. But I've held it. It's fine.
Okay, good. Sweet.
We're bonding. So I don't. I'm trying to think of other stuff. We got the Matchbox cars and Hot Wheels. Oh, my boys love Hot Wheels. So I don't think that's changed a whole lot. Although Fred says Greg buys his kids flashing glasses that he then keeps for himself.
Yes, he does.
Thank you, Fred. All right. Well, let us move on to our main event. For those of you who are brand new to the show, or maybe you forgot, we started back in February, I think now, with 80s movies. And there was some random picture. I said, oh, let's each keep 5 and see if there's any overlap. And we've branched out. We've done 90s movies and TV shows and bands and breakfast cereals, and we've had variations. Last week we did with the grilled foods. We created teams. This week we're going kind of back to basics, back to the original version, and we did summer or vacation movies because it's summer vacation.
Yeah.
So, Mike, do you want to go first with my picks, or do you want me to go
yes,
first?
I want to choose first.
Okay. Highlander says, I saw a picture of Greg's bearded dragon. He says it's 6 inches long, but it don't look longer than 4 to me. Okay. I don't know. Right,
I got you.
So Mike is going to pick from my selection. So let me share this image with you all. Again, for those of you who are watching along with us in the comments, pick your 5 that you would save out of this list of 15. Yes. Fred says, next week, favorite person in chat. I'm not saying I'm first ballot, but ... You're probably top 3, at least tonight anyway, Fred. There's no Josh tonight because he's in a different time zone. So, all right, the movies that I gave to you are, there we go. We have The Great Outdoors, the Dan Aykroyd, John Candy comedy. We have Summer Catch, which had Jessica Biel and Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard, about Cape Cod Baseball League. We have Meatballs there, top middle. Camp Nowhere. We have National Lampoon's European Vacation. Dazed and Confused, Independence Day, Caddyshack, 500 Days of Summer, We're the Millers, Friday the 13th. Remember, they're cleaning up Camp Crystal Lake. We have Summer School, American Pie 2, Wet Hot American Summer, and Without a Paddle.
Okay, this is going to be fairly easy, I think. Some of these I've never seen. Okay, We're the Millers first. I absolutely love We're the Millers.
You're getting paid?
Yeah. I mean, that is a rewatchable movie.
Yeah, I need to find that. I need to give that another watch. It's been a number of years since I've seen it.
Yeah. I'm also going to go with something I haven't watched in a long time, but I back in the day I watched it a handful of times, which is Without a Paddle.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. That's in my every couple of year rotation.
Yep.
I think it's on Hulu.
Probably. Yes, I think it is. Yes. Man, okay. I American Pie 2. I don't remember what's different about American Pie 2 than American Pie. But you know what? I'm gonna pick it.
The weird guy. That's where he was spending all summer learning the tantric sex for when Stifler's mom came over.
Oh yes.
That's what I remember about that.
Okay. And then so Summer Catch I've never seen. Camp Nowhere, this looks fairly familiar, but I don't remember it.
So Camp Nowhere is all the kids, moms and dads were going to send all this group of kids to various camps like computer camp and fat camp and other stuff. And they kind of like the movie Accepted with Justin Long. And they basically created this fake camp and sent letters and reports out to all the parents. I'm having a great time at computer camp or acting camp. And the camp counselor was Christopher Lloyd. And then they had parents weekend and the jig was up, so to speak. So
that sounds so familiar. That might be one I'd have to find in watching it because, but anyway, so I have 3. Okay, good. I have 3. And then, so I'm going to add Independence Day because, you have to. That's the summer movie. And then okay, like Summer School, I never saw. Wet Hot American Summer, I never saw, but I heard it's really good. 500 Days of Summer, I also never saw, but I heard it was good. So here's the thing: I'm going to go with a movie that I just saw probably the last 2 years, and it's been out for a long, long time, and heard. I'm not going to barely lead Caddyshack. And here's the thing about it is, when I watched it, and even looking at this poster does not have who the main character is. Like that. No, because
right.
like
oh
Bill
yeah,
Murray,
the kid.
The kid's the main character in that movie. These are all side characters, but obviously they went on to, and probably at the time, honestly, even were bigger. And so they're on the poster. Yeah. So yeah, so mine are We're the Millers, Without a Paddle, American Pie 2, Independence Day, and Caddyshack.
Very nice. Good selection there, Michael.
Thank you.
Right.
We're gonna look at mine here now, and I tell everybody I don't even know if some of these are summer and or vacation movies. I just Googled because I couldn't think of summer vacation movies, so I literally Googled what are some summer movies. What are movies? And I also, like, if you just so future reference, if anybody Googles what are vacation movies, they will just show you all the National Lampoon vacation movies.
That's true.
You have to go like, what are movies where it's a vacation?
Well, let's take a look at the movies that you gave me to choose from.
All right. So we got National Lampoon's Vacation, Up, The Parent Trap, Dirty Dancing, My Girl, Jaws, Road Trip, Euro Trip.
By the way, it's only accidental that Road Trip and Euro Trip got put right next to one.
That's fair. Stand By Me, Grease, Weekend at Bernie's, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Point Break, Dazed and Confused, we had a duplicate, and Heavyweights.
Okay. Well, I think you got to get National Lampoon's Vacation off the board.
Fair.
Dazed and Confused, because I like that last day of school, first night of summer in the 1970s. Okay. And I like how, some of the dialogue is like, well, maybe it's the every other decade thing. The 60s rocked, the 70s clearly suck, so maybe the 80s will be great. And I'm like, okay. I don't know if that's going to work out for you. Here's the thing. Between Road Trip and Euro Trip, I take Euro Trip.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I would have gone the opposite, but that's okay.
Scotty doesn't know.
Yeah, fair.
Let's see. I mean, the easy ones that would not be on the list would be like Parent Trap, Dirty Dancing, My Girl, Grease.
You're not. I would have picked you for a Grease fan, Greg.
You want to know how dumb Greg was many, many, many years ago?
I remember.
You would have known. So my sister had Grease on VHS, and shut up, Fred. I remember looking at it like, when in the world was this movie made? It was made in like 1978 or 79 or something, but it took place in the 50s. But again, I was dumb and didn't know how movies worked. And I was like, I don't remember. Not that I was around for the 70s, right. But like, I don't think the 70s looked like that. So,
by the way, speaking of Grease, if you ever want to watch a funny video, just look up like Grease songs without music. Like,
oh, I don't know that movie's a little more risque with some of the songs and some of the song lyrics than it should. Like, there are high schools that do that in like the spring musical. I'm like, I don't know if you should.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Vacation, Dazed and Confused, Euro Trip. I do like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I think I put that one on there.
Yeah.
And then this is between the two. I would go Stand By Me. I've probably seen Heavyweights more because it's a little bit more accessible growing up because it was on Disney Channel or whatever.
Yeah.
But Stand By Me is such a good flick.
Okay.
All right, so let's take a look at what the commenters had to say.
Okay.
And we'll go back to yours. And Fred says, from the list that I gave you, Caddyshack, Summer School, European Vacation, Independence Day, and Meatballs.
Okay. I almost picked Meatballs.
And from let's see, from my from your options to me, Fred said Up, Stand By Me, Point Break, that is, Road Trip, and Jaws.
Great choices.
And even though some of these are not on the list, Minnie says, this is my blockbuster trip: European vacation, family vacation, Vegas vacation, Dazed and Confused, and Weekend at Bernie's.
Okay, yeah.
Not
Those would have been great if we had picked some.
I was going to say, not entirely, playing by the rules of the game, but that's okay.
You make up your own rules in life,
Oh, yeah. So many the rules are that you have to choose from the options we gave you.
Yeah.
You can't just go pulling it. I mean, otherwise you could put Christmas vacation in there. That'd probably win the whole thing. So, all right. So now is the time where Mike looks at the list he gave me.
Yes.
And has to pick 5 off of that list.
Yes. All right. I'm immediately going to Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I've seen that movie so many times. That was one of my. It was my Blu-ray / DVD. I forgot. I think I had DVD for it that I just watched constantly and watched the behind the scenes and the commentary and all that stuff.
The Van Helsing puppet musical is tremendous.
Which, by the way, in case anybody doesn't know, but that was a legit thing Jason Segel was doing. So that was like it wasn't like before this movie was made or as it was getting made, he wanted to do a Dracula musical with puppets. And that it wasn't like I'm going to do this because it's going to be ironic and funny. He legit wanted to do it. And so they kind of just got added in. Okay, I'm going to go heavyweights because that's just good. Let's see here. Yeah, of course, I got to go Lampoon Vacation. It's better than Christmas Vacation, so that's understandable.
Sorry, folks, the park's closed. The sign out front should have told you.
Then I'm going to go Up because I like to cry in the beginning of movies. And then I'm going to go Road Trip. You on Euro Trip? I'm going Road Trip.
Oh, nobody's perfect.
All right, so those are mine. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Heavyweights, Lampoon Vacation, Up, and Road Trip.
All right, well, let's take a quick gander at the ones that I gave you. Mm-hmm. I'm actually surprised that so Independence Day, I remember I don't want to say my not cool grandparents, but definitely my more strict grandparents actually took me to see Independence Day in theaters.
Okay.
Which blew my mind. That
did they know what was it about, or did they look like Independence Day and like, okay, this is about America? Greg needs to learn some history.
They might. So it was summer, and it was one of those summer blockbusters. It was probably around my birthday, and maybe it was all right, well, you can get one. But if I would have looked over at my grandma, I'm sure she would have been just aghast, oh my gosh, clutching her pearls. So I'd put Independence Day on there for an abundance of reasons, but that memory, I would put on here. Yeah, I'd also have Without a Paddle and Caddyshack. I'm actually surprised. I find The Great Outdoors to be a tremendous movie.
I know I've seen it, but I couldn't tell you one thing about it. Besides, it has Dan Aykroyd and John Candy in it.
It's
outdoors, I'm assuming.
And it's pretty great.
Okay.
So I have those, and I want to go European Vacation. I've only seen We're the Millers once. We're the Millers made the list over RV. Have you ever seen RV?
Yes, and it very well should have made the list over RV.
You are welcome.
Yeah.
I did that for you. So I have Great Outdoors, Independence Day,
Caddyshack,
thank you, Without a Paddle. You know what? I think I'm going to go European Vacation.
Go for it.
Sorry.
That's good. It's a good list.
Thank you. Fred says, not kidding. In the theater, when the president in the movie gave his speech, the guy got up and legit cheered and clapped. I mean, it's an iconic speech. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
But maybe the guy, yes, great speech. But I don't know if the guy knew that the president wasn't actually there. Like, I find it odd when anybody cheers and claps at a movie because the actors aren't there.
Yeah.
But you do you know.
President Whitmore, Thomas J. Whitmore.
All right. By the way, do you want to, before we get out of here, do you want to tell them what our next category is going to be? Because we already chose it.
Yeah, that's I'm very excited. Excuse me, very excited by the endless possibilities.
Yes.
Of what you presented to me today. Please tell the good people who have sat with us for the last 65 minutes what our selection game or segment is going to be next week.
It's going to be the reasons that Bleep Blark is great. So it's like, how can we only choose 15? You know, I'm Bleep Blark, by the way. Or the other option was we're gonna do basically vacation ideas or vacation spots, and I told Greg it's literally anywhere you have gone before or anywhere you would like to go before. So I mean, cities, and I was gonna tell you this too. Like the way I'm thinking of it is like I'm not thinking about money or like, well, I'd love to travel to Italy, but I gotta take time off work, and then it's just like you can go there.
There's nothing holding you back.
No, nothing holding you back, you know? And Greg, if you want to decide you want to go somewhere by yourself, you can. I don't know if that's something you want, but don't admit it out loud right now, probably, but, you know.
Fred says that first option sounds like it was written by the people who do Acolyte.
You mean great people? We're saying?
Pump those brakes, sir. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, endless possibilities. Yeah. I am excited to throw some of my favorite like bucket list destinations and send them your way. So
yes,
I'm sure you probably already have half your list already in mind.
No, I didn't see. Okay. I probably have two in mind, and one I don't even know how I'm going to get it. How I'm going to represent it. You know,
Mars.
Yes, Mars. Well, that would be easy actually. No, hey, we're going Universal. That's even different. You know? We
better not. Let's try to keep it on this planet.
We'll keep it. We'll keep it Earthbound for now.
Yeah. This will be great for Minnie and Highlander Gun and Josh when he watches this. But Fred says Greg's top 5 will be Shaska, Minnesota. So that is the town where our founder at coronation.com, John Johnston, lives. So I've been to Shaska. I've been to John's house and broken bread with him. So Minnie says the Lincoln better be on the list. So,
well, we got 15 to choose, or 15.
15 to create and a week to do it. So, only time will tell.
Yeah,
but, Mike, this is a lot of fun. It always is. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and an hour earlier. Heck,
yes,
we can all go to bed early tonight.
Yeah, I'm fine with doing it at 8 from now on.
We'll see. A lot of it's going to depend on how the frequency with which I can get the twins to bed because Garrett hadn't been a problem. I think Ashley went upstairs at one point, but if the twins were here, then the twins would be like right here.
Oh, yeah.
Daddy, what you doing? Daddy. Something like that. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Nerds United, a JitteryMonkey.com podcast, a part of the Jittery Monkey Podcast Network. Thanks to all of our tremendous viewers who help make the show what it is with their interactions and comments. Thank you to my good friend and co-host of the year, Mike Luther. I'm Greg Mahochko for Nerds United and the Jittery Monkey Podcast Network. We remind you each and every week to be kind
and rewind.
That's right.
This is a production of the Jittery Monkey Podcast Network. For more jittery shenanigans, go to jitterymonkey.com.